On the bus. There was an argument and the school bully proposed breaking up. I sneered. Among the two of you, you are the one with the most issues. The school bully was instantly defeated and angrily asked me who the other one was. I talked nonsense. The student council president. 185 cm tall. Handsome with long legs. Better than you in every way. In the next moment, the boy in the gray hoodie sitting next to me who had been eating melons all the way took off his earphones and pulled down his mask. He cleared his throat. Correction. I am 186.14 cm tall. Help. Making up lies and being overheard by the person himself. On Friday after school, Lawrence and I had an argument on the bus. Half of the bus was filled with uncles and aunts who pricked up their ears and watched with great interest. Quinn, can you stop overthinking? Sherry is just a very good friend of mine. There were no seats left. The two of us stood by the aisle. Lawrence had one hand in his pocket and his face was full of annoyance. Outside the window were the rapidly receding green shadows. The wind blew up the broken hair on Lawrence's forehead, revealing his cold and impatient eyebrows. Friend? Which heterosexual friend uses a couple's avatar when playing games? I sneered and mercilessly exposed him. If I hadn't just seen Sherry's post showing game screenshots and match records, I wouldn't have known that Lawrence's cat avatar in the game was a pair. Goodness. Just sent me good night. And then played games with a heterosexual good brother until midnight. You don't play. What's wrong with me hanging out with her? I see Sherry as a good buddy. Do I need to explain anything? What can a couple's avatar prove? Do you have delusions? Or is your suspicious nature acting up? Don't be unreasonable. Lawrence frowned, looking extremely tired. I was shocked. How could he be so shameless? He actually turned the tables and CPUED me instead. I was so angry that I wanted to slap him. I raised my hand. Just then, the bus reached a traffic light intersection. The driver was fierce. He didn't slow down. Only when he was about to cross the line did he make a sudden hard brake. Before the slap landed on Lawrence's face, I spun 180 degrees uncontrollably and almost fell into the arms of the boy sitting next to me. The boy was wearing earphones and seemed to be sleeping. Most of his face was covered by a mask. His eyelashes were long and thick and hung down quietly. Fortunately, I held the handrail tightly so that I didn't fall on him for an intimate contact. As soon as I stood firm, Lawrence spoke again. If you think like this, there's nothing I can do. Then we can only separate and calm down for a while. You choose. When I was extremely angry, I calmed down instead. Trying to make me compromise by breaking up. Break up then. There are countless handsome guys. If this one doesn't work, we can change. But I can't lose my momentum and be cheated without fighting back. I laughed angrily. I curled my lips and clicked my tongue. I shook my head helplessly. Break up. Among the two of you, you are the one with the most issues. What? Lawrence was stunned at first. Realizing it, his face suddenly became very ugly. Quinn, having one relationship with me is not enough. Do you have another wild man outside? 3, you are wrong. He is the real one. I just haven't made it public. You are the one who pesters me and inserts yourself into our relationship as a third party. I sighed and condemned him with a pained expression. The onlookers who had been watching couldn't sit still, pointing and commenting, sighing that today's young people are really playing wild. Me? I became a mistress? Lawrence was struck by lightning. He was stunned. Immediately. From his neck to his face. He flushed red. He grabbed my arm and roared angrily. Quinn. You slag. You played with me. Tell me who he is. Who on earth is he? In what way am I worse than him? Say it. Say it quickly. Seeing him defeated, I was extremely satisfied in my heart. I slapped away his dog's paw and started talking nonsense. Jason from the law school. The student council president. 185 cm tall. Handsome with long legs. Better than you in every way. An existence that makes people look up like standing on the top of a mountain. Let's see how you can compare with him. As soon as I finished speaking and before Lawrence could recover, the boy sitting next to me who had been sleeping with his eyes closed suddenly took off his earphones. His slender fingers pulled down his mask, revealing his superior and outstanding facial features. He cleared his throat. His voice was clear and smooth. Well, correction. I am 100 ITX's point for teen cm tall. For everyone at Zhang University knows Jason. Good looking and with excellent grades. He is both the school grass and the academic god, with a cold and clean temperament and a godlike image. He is completely different from Lawrence, the wild and arrogant school bully. I don't know him personally, but I know his face. Help. Making up lies and being overheard by the person himself. My mind was in a mess. I was so embarrassed that I didn't know what to say. Lawrence had a stinky face and snorted coldly. Jason. Is she really your girlfriend? Me and her. Jason lifted his eyelids and looked at me calmly. It's over. I'm going to be refuted and slapped in the face by the person himself. If Sherry, that little green tea, finds out, she will definitely spread it widely behind my back and laugh at me. At the critical moment, I calmed down and my brain worked quickly. Hi, baby. What a coincidence. You are here too. I showed date standard teeth and smiled sweetly. I affectionately grabbed Jason's coat, facing Lawrence sideways. I stared at him tightly and pleaded silently. Don't expose me. Please. Jason. I finally had the upper hand in front of Lawrence. Please cooperate. Woo woo woo. I will definitely repay your great kindness. Facing my tearful and pitiful look, Jason's beautiful eyebrows frowned slightly imperceptibly. After a few seconds of silence, he paused and then changed his words inferently. Me and her. It's just as you think. 5 Getting off at the station. On the sidewalk. Lawrence blocked in front of me and Jason with his hands in his pockets. He said through gritted teeth. Good. I bless you. I gave him a blank look. I looked up and curved my eyes. Tokathos, I sang to Jason. Baby. Are you happy? Finally. I can give you a title. Those outside are all crooked melons and split dates. No one is better than you. I like you the most. Lawrence's face became even stinker. I fucking wish you would break up tonight. He sneered. His whole body's pressure was even lower. As if unable to bear it. He left after throwing down this sentence. Wait. Don't go. I called out to him. Oh. You can't bear me. Lawrence stopped in his tracks and raised his eyebrows at Jason smugly. You think too much. I mean, don't go. You are too slow. Run. Get out of my sight quickly. After Lawrence left with a black face, I stopped smiling. I put my hands together and quickly apologized and confessed to Jason, who had been silent all this time. Classmate Zhang. I'm sorry. I talked nonsense in a moment of impulse. Lawrence is a person who loves face the most. Don't worry. He will definitely not tell others about the things I made up. I promise. It will definitely not affect you. And thank you for cooperating with me. Thank you so much. 6. It's okay. Jason nodded politely. The evening breeze in midsummer is very gentle. With the coolness of lime and sea salt soda. It blows away the stuffins of the whole day. He was wearing simple black pants and sneakers. His top was a loose gray hoodie. The zipper was pulled up to his chest, revealing a little of the collar of his white t-shirt and his beautiful and prominent collarbone. He had a slender figure. The whole person was quiet and eye-catching. I really wanted to kowtow to him. Beautiful and kind-hearted. He is so good. Woo woo woo. Classmate Zhang. Let me treat you to a meal. Jason refused. I insisted again and again. Finally, he pointed to the convenience store not far away, and said helplessly, There's no need for a meal. Just treat me to an ice cream. After buying ice cream, I added Jason's contact information. How could one ice cream be enough? I will definitely treat him to a meal in the future. After saying goodbye to him, I took a taxi back to school. Originally, I wanted to go to the forest park to see fireflies with Lawrence tonight. He didn't ride that showy motorcycle. He said taking the bus together was sweeter. Unexpectedly, we argued all the way on the bus and broke up happily. I opened WeChat and casually scrolled through moments. Sherry posted another update. Don't be sad. Breaking up is no big deal. I will always be with you. Hug hug. I was disgusted. The little green tea finally got what she wanted. The joy in her words couldn't be suppressed. I couldn't swallow this anger and my eyes were red. I angrily typed a comment till play Suane for your mom. 7 after being emo for 2 days. I was visibly listless. Monday morning classes were even more deadly. After class in the afternoon, I went for a walk on the playground to get some fresh air. Coincidentally, I met Lawrence again. He was playing basketball with a tense face. As if venting. His jersey was soaked through. He seemed to be in a bad mood. Sherry was sitting on the bench, holding a mineral water bottle, and looking at Lawrence with a smile. I walked away with my head down. Lawrence had sharp eyes. When he saw me, he made a backward jump shot, and the basketball went into the basket. After a few steps, he came over and blocked me. Quinn. Why are you alone? Why isn't your boyfriend with you? He is not as idle as you. Sherry was afraid that we would make up. She quickly trotted over. Quinn, you have a new boyfriend? So fast. Then why do you look so bad? Won't you break up again? She looked me up and down and exclaimed softly. Shut up. Can your drama be as little as your hair? A fire rose in my chest. I stared at her big forehead and sneered. Sherry was stabbed and almost lost her composure. She barely maintained the expression on her face and said hypocritically. Quinn, no matter what you think, Lawrence and I are completely innocent. You are mistaken. You are more pretentious than a garbage bag. You really misunderstood us. Shake your brain juice well before speaking. After being by me. Sherry couldn't continue. She turned to look at Lawrence and said in a crying voice. Why is your ex-girlfriend like this? 8. When did you become so impolite? You also cursed her in Sherry's moments last time. Quinn. Apologize. Lawrence frowned tightly and scolded me. You two know it in your hearts. Asking me to apologize? Are you crazy? Not wanting to waste any more words. I turned and left. Lawrence comforted the aggrieved and sobbing Sherry a little. Then he quickly caught up with me. At the corner of the tree-lined path. He held my wrist and wouldn't let go. He tentatively asked. Did you really break up with Jason? Sorry to disappoint you. No. Lawrence's face suddenly darkened. Thinking of something again. The corner of his mouth lifted in a mocking arc with malice. Come to think of it. I seem to have never seen him on the basketball court. What's the use of being just 2 points for cm taller than me? Maybe he is weak. Quinn. Choosing him over me doesn't seem very cost-effective. What's so great about being able to play basketball? I said disdainfully. Then why did you praise me before? And blushed when watching me play? Quinn. Don't be stubborn. Lawrence didn't believe me and smiled slowly. I was indeed being stubborn. During the basketball league, I was dragged by my roommate to watch. I had a crazy crush on the high-spirited Lawrence on the court. Just as he came off the court to find a wet wipe to wipe off his sweat, I was close by. Blushing, I reached out and handed it to him. After the game ended, Lawrence took the initiative to add my WeChat and started chasing me. At that time, a girl with spring feelings, definitely couldn't have imagined that after being with him for 5 months, it would end in such an unseemly way. 9. I blushed. But it was because of your embarrassment. What? I don't know how to say sweet words. I can only express myself with basketball. The happiest thing is to have a ball on the court and you off the court. Basketball is my passion. And you are my preference. You don't know how greasy you are. I'm too embarrassed to tell you. I firmly refused to admit it. I forcefully broke free from his hand and mocked. Then I'm always better than Jason. He can't even play. Lawrence was anxious. You are so thick-skinned. I couldn't hold back and burst out laughing. Even though I don't pay much attention to Jason, I know how excellent he is. How could Lawrence have the nerve to say he is better? Our Yuyo can play the piano, do calligraphy, know art, draw, ride horses, fence. He has a good-looking face, good-looking hands, good-looking legs. He has good grades, good character, and a good temper. From head to toe, from hair to toes, he exudes elegance. From appearance to height and body shape, to cultivation and knowledge. In what way can you compare to him? You are so childish. You still want to compare with him. This is a joke in itself. I was full of disgust and bombarded him with words without a pause. Lawrence opposite was like being struck by lightning. His eyes were dazed and his lips trembled. Unable to say a word. The more I talked, the braver I became. I took advantage of the victory to pursue. Look at you again, a reckless man full of stinky sweat. Like a greasy piece of pork belly. It reflects light in the sun. Don't you think you are full of hormones and extremely handsome? Show off. Our Yu is different from you. He is fragrant and soft. I want to stick to him every day. Lawrence was defeated again. With a pale face. His tall body swayed. I felt refreshed. Leaving him standing there, severely shocked. I was about to leave gracefully. Swinging my ponytail. I turned around and then suddenly stopped. Not far behind me stood a group of people. They were wearing the work badges of the student council and holding notebooks for recording. It seemed they were inspecting campus equipment. Jason was surrounded in the middle. His white shirt was tucked into black trousers. With a straight nose and thin lips. A slender waist and long legs. He was good-looking and eye-catching. His earlobes were a little red. His eyelashes fluttered gently like butterfly wings in spring. Looking at me, he pursed his lips and whispered. Fragrant and soft? Hi. What a coincidence. My vision darkened. Forcing myself to resist the urge to cover my face and run away, I slowly pulled out a stiff smile. It's over. Jason, who is beautiful and kind-hearted, has had his innocent reputation ruined by me. Woo woo woo. I'm guilty. Both times I talked nonsense and was caught red-handed by the person himself. This time so many people heard it. I wished I could find a crack to crawl into. You hid it so deeply. When did you get together? So sweet. John God. I want to stick to you too, someone teased and joked with a smile. Jason handed the notebook in his hand to the person next to him. Glancing at Lawrence who hadn't recovered from the shock yet. He walked over unhurriedly. Quinn. Are you free now? Yes. I didn't dare to look up at him, and replied dryly. The cicadas were chirping loudly. The shade of the trees was thick. Walking beside Jason, I apologized weakly with a stiff upper lip. Classmate Zhang. I'm sorry. Don't worry. I will clarify. The thin red on Jason's earlobes hadn't faded yet. It's okay. No need to clarify. A gentle breeze carried his mild voice and pleasant smell. Unlike the extremely aggressive, wild perfume that Lawrence often sprays, Jason had a cool and sweet fragrance. Ah? I was stunned. 12. What I mean is that I can't let down the ice cream you treated me to. I have to cooperate with you. Jason explained. He is so good. Woo woo woo. I sighed again at Jason's beauty and kindness. Thank you. Classmate Zhang. But I don't want to affect you. Don't worry. I will never talk nonsense again. I was about to swear with my fingers together and raise my hand to the sky. Jason didn't speak. After a moment of silence, he suddenly stopped. Looking down at me. His voice was very soft and a little aggrieved. Are the emojis I sent very ugly and disgusting? What? I was stunned again. Confused. I quickly took out my phone from my pocket and opened WeChat. In the dialogue box between me and Jason, There were only a few messages, which were still sent on the day. We just added each other. I am Jason from the law school. I am Quinn from the School of Information Engineering. With a hello emoji of a domineering president with a wicked smile. After almost half an hour, the opposite side slowly replied with a hello emoji of a cartoon dog waving. Don't send me some ugly and disgusting things anymore. Help. This is a misunderstanding. At that time, I was so angry with Sherry that my head hurt. Several of Lawrence's friends took pictures of Lawrence sitting in the booth, drinking with a lonely back, and sent them to me. What's with the pretentious affection? I felt sick and typed this line angrily. Then I copied and pasted it all at once, and sent it to several people in the latest messages. I was blind. I also sent it to Jason. 13 No, I sent it by mistake. The little dog is so cute. It's not ugly at all. If it's disgusting, it's the emoji I sent that's disgusting. Woo woo. Jason, don't take it too hard. My face flushed red and I explained desperately. He nodded and his expression relaxed. Just call me by my name. After a pause, he said, the low-paired rabbit in your profile picture is very cool. Oh my god. He actually noticed my profile picture. I was flattered. I blinked and replied excitedly. This is the logo of our band that I drew. J-Band? Yes. I formed a band called Cold Rabbit. I am the lead singer. The members are classmates from various departments. You are very amazing. Being praised. I felt a little embarrassed. I casually said, it would be great if there was a music festival in the school. Everyone can relax and we also have a chance to perform. Jason nodded. His voice was gentle. This idea is very good. I will suggest it to the principal. He is really. I'm so touched. I hesitated. Won't the principal scold you? No. The principal is very kind. Jason curved his lips and smiled gently. His eyes were clear and bright. This was the first time I saw him smile. His smile was right on my heart. Jason with a godlike image actually has small canine teeth. 14 The post on the school's BBS revealing that Jason was in love exploded. The poster revealed that they saw John God's girlfriend being pestered by a scumbag. The scumbag also spoke rudely and wanted to compete with John God. John God's girlfriend bravely protected her boyfriend and scolded the other party thoroughly. Many people came to eat melons after hearing the news. Pure love Amazon. John God is off the market? I angrily ate 2 bowls of spicy hot pot. Crying just a lackey of early morning classes. I'm so anxious. Who is John God with? Which school? What's the name? Zhang GIAA. Wholesale of Zhang University male models. Investigate again and report again. Professor Liu has no hair on his head. I was at the scene. But I can't say. John God gave me a gag order naughty after half an hour and when there were already more than 1,000 fours of comments. The poster finally showed up and posted a message. John God doesn't let me talk. I'm having a hard time holding back. I can only reveal this much. I was lying in my dormitory, listening to my roommates' heated discussions. I looked a little embarrassed. Jason really considered every aspect. He didn't expose me and make me embarrassed in front of Lawrence. And he protected me from being talked about by others. How could he be so good? So good that I almost wanted to cry. I sniffed and opened the dialogue box with him. After hesitating for a while, I piously typed a thank you, and sent it. Soon, the opposite side replied with an emoji of a little dog giving flowers. So cute and adorable. 15 I had an inexplicable trust in Jason and always felt that the music festival could be held. There were many empty classrooms in an old building on campus. I applied for one from the teacher. During my spare time, I rehearsed with the members. That night, less than half an hour after we started, that little green tea Sherry knocked on the door and found fault several times. Quinn, we are reciting poems next door. Your voices are so loud. How can we continue? Then change rooms. Anyway, we came first. I said without even looking up. After being interrupted several times by her, I lost the mood to rehearse. The members all went to have dinner. I didn't leave. I stayed alone to tidy up the musical instruments and equipment. Sherry came over again to annoy me. The light is broken. The road outside the building is very dark. Lawrence will pick me up later. Come with us. What are you barking? I gave her a blank look. When there was no one around. Sherry didn't pretend anymore. She had a gloomy face. Quinn, do you know that I hate you very much? I like Lawrence. But you got in between and started dating him. Now that you've broken up, he still can't forget you. I already knew what she was thinking. Just after I started dating Lawrence. When we invited friends to go out and play, he would invite Sherry 8 times out of 10. He said Sherry was his good buddy, and told me not to think too much. I saw that there were no ambiguous actions between them. So I believed him. Until one time during Truth or Dare, Sherry lost. Someone asked if she had someone she liked. She pointed at Lawrence and smiled, saying it was him. 16 before everyone could react. Sherry changed her words again, and said she was just joking. That night, she posted a meaningful WeChat moment. How many true words in a lifetime are said in a joking way? I was so angry that I took a screenshot and showed it to Lawrence. After a while, he replied to me. He said that Sherry didn't mean the thing about liking him. I was overthinking. At that time, my mind was not working properly and I believed him again. There are many people who hate me. Who are you? You'll be jealous to death. Little thing with a direct connection from the rectum to the brain. I sneered. Sherry was so angry that she was ashamed. I'll tear your mouth. She folded her arms and stretched out her legs. She kicked down the bus, leaning against the corner. After a few steps, she grabbed my shoulder with one hand and pressed me against the wall. With the other hand, she pinched my chin hard. Her long nails dug into my flesh, and the pain made me immediately well up with tears. I didn't expect her to dare to do it. I didn't want to be outdone. I grabbed her hair and pulled hard. I'll make you bald. Sherry winced in pain and raised her hand to hit me. Sherry? There was a sound of footsteps in the corridor outside. It was Lawrence. Hearing his voice, Sherry changed her mind again. She suddenly let go of me and slapped herself in the face. Then she started crying. Quinn, Lawrence and I are above board. You've already broken up. Why did you hit me? 17 goodness. In order to win Lawrence's pity. She was so ruthless. I was stunned as I looked at the clearly visible 5-finger mark on Sherry's face. Lawrence heard the commotion and hurriedly pushed the door open and came in. Quinn, why are you here? Why did you hit her? Let go. I was still holding onto Sherry's hair, caught off guard by Lawrence's push. I staggered and almost fell. This is the classroom where our band rehearses. She came here on her own to find fault and start a fight. I was just defending myself by pulling her hair. The slap was also slapped by herself. If you have the ability, go and check the surveillance. Didn't you hit me just because the surveillance on this floor is broken? Sherry huddled beside Lawrence, crying pitifully. Quinn, what's wrong with you? I and Sherry wouldn't have had a chance if there was something between us. Can it be your turn? Lawrence's eyebrows and eyes were filled with anger. His voice deepened. Besides, even if there was something between me and her, so what? When you were with me, didn't you also flirt with others? Mentioning this, he seemed to have the confidence to accuse me. He glanced around at the musical instruments and equipment, then looked down at my clothes. His expression was ugly. I've told you long ago that your so-called band is a waste of time. Look at your denim shorts. Do you really want other men to see your legs so much? This jerk. I was so angry that I trembled all over and my fingers trembled slightly. I opened my mouth to scold him, but my throat was choked, and I couldn't say a word. Facing my red eyes, Lawrence looked away and tensed his voice. I can't let you bully people for no reason. If you don't apologize, then I can only let Sherry hit you back. 18. Sherry silently curved her lips and smiled provocatively and triumphantly. I held back my tears and clenched my fists. Just as I was about to punch Lawrence's shameless face with a fist, a familiar male voice suddenly sounded from the door. Who are you going to hit? It was Jason. Unlike his usual mildness, there was no expression on his face. He walked over a few steps and pulled me closer to him. His eyebrows and eyes cooled down. Lawrence narrowed his black eyes and lifted his chin. Your boyfriend is here to support you, but today no one can help. If she hit someone, she must apologize. I didn't. She started it first. She slandered me. The grievance swelled up all at once. I hurriedly explained to Jason. I believe you. It's okay. Don't be afraid. Without any hesitation, he softened his voice to comfort me. The surveillance on this floor has been repaired a few days ago. As for who hit who, we can go to the security department and check the surveillance to know. Okay. Then let's check the surveillance. Lawrence snorted and was about to walk out. Sherry didn't move, standing stiffly in place, her eyes flickering. She didn't expect that the surveillance had been repaired. Quinn. So you are with John God now. There's no need to look at the surveillance. It's not a big deal. Sherry forced out a smile and stammered. Her guilty and panicked look couldn't be hidden. Lawrence was quite smart when he wasn't stupid. He quickly realized and looked at Sherry incredulously. You lied to me? Did you provoke Quinn first? I will take out the surveillance tomorrow and send it to your college. Wait to be punished. Jason threw down the sentence and took my hand and left. Passing by Lawrence, I suddenly remembered what he said about flirting. I took out my phone and held it in front of his eyes. See clearly. We added WeChat that day after getting off the bus. I'm not as shameless as you. As for flirting, I'm far inferior to you. 19. The moon was shining with a cold light. Above was a broken street lamp. The light was very dim. Moths flew across the sky. After a while, I sighed. My voice was muffled. I used to firmly believe in a piece of chicken soup. Be grateful to everyone you meet in life. Whether good or bad, they all make you grow. But I just found out today that I was completely wrong. If I could start over, I wouldn't want to meet him at all. Lawrence was a double-standard dog. When I was in a relationship with him, I put the band aside. Because he didn't like me spending time on this. He always said I was messing around. On the contrary, he was idle all day, and wild everywhere. He didn't like me wearing shorts or skirts. He said he would be jealous if other boys saw me. But he dressed himself up flamboyantly. When playing basketball, he deliberately lifted his clothes and wiped sweat to show his abdominal muscles. I obeyed him carefully. But he never considered my feelings. I became less and less like myself. I was worried and unhappy. Until I completely exploded on the bus. I thank his grandmas. The more I thought about it, the angrier I became. My tone was indignant, and my voice suddenly rose several degrees. Before the last word could come out, it was suddenly stuck in my throat and turned around, making me swallow it back. Oh no. Jason was still there. Pui. Don't swear. 20. Jason stood beside me and patiently listened to my complaints. After I finished speaking, he spoke. Quinn, no matter whose partner you are, first of all, you are yourself. Women's freedom to dress is a natural right. It doesn't need anyone's consent and is not bound by anyone. You are great. Your cold rabbit band is very cool. Your outfit today is very beautiful. The moonlight was clear and shallow. It fell into his good-looking and gentle eyebrows and eyes, turning into a pool of spring water. In the quiet night, Jason's eyes were bright and gentle. This feeling of being affirmed is so good. I cried unashamedly. I cried so miserably that I used up a whole pack of tissues. Jason quietly accompanied me. He raised his eyes and glanced around. Seeing that there was no trash can nearby, he reached out and put the used paper in his pocket. I cried heartily and vented all the pent-up emotions. After calming down, I curiously asked him why he came to the old building. Jason said it was just passing by. What a coincidence. The surveillance was also repaired. Saved me from the fire and water. Woo woo. Otherwise, I would definitely be secretly harmed by that little green tea Sherry. Her nails were long and sharp. It still hurt until now. I touched my chin and couldn't help but hiss. What's wrong? I was pinched by her just now. Let me see. Jason bent down and approached. His eyes lowered. His fingers gently lifted my chin and looked at it carefully. The enlarged handsome face swayed in front of me. The breath stagnated for a few beats. I will apply medicine. I'll go back first. After stammering in a low voice, I turned around and ran away. The chirping of insects in the summer night was weak and affectionate, like a strange and beautiful symphony. At this moment, my heart was beating like a drum. 21 running all the way back to the dormitory. My cheeks were burning hot. After quickly washing up and climbing into bed, I received a message from Jason. He said that he didn't have time to tell me just now. The principal agreed to hold the music festival, and also wanted to meet me. I deleted and added words. Finally, biting my lip, I replied with a cute rabbit emoji of okay. Soon, the cartoon dog sending flowers from last time was sent from the other side. I rolled on the bed and buried my head in the pillow. The next day after class, I timidly knocked on the door of the principal's office. The energetic old man was sitting on the sofa drinking tea. Seeing me come in, he enthusiastically asked me to sit down and kept praising me for forming a band. There are many extracurricular activities in the school, but they are all old-fashioned. This music festival I like. I searched it. The atmosphere is really good. Unexpectedly, the principal was really as amiable as Jason said. My nervous heart slowly calmed down. Speaking of which, I also wanted to be a singer when I was young. While talking, the principal suddenly changed the topic and his tone was full of melancholy. Quinn, can I join the music festival? I also want to sing. I immediately agreed. Then I'll start. Your band will be the finale. The principal was happy and excitedly started planning. Recently, is there a little love song with some kind of sauce popular? The radio station always plays it. Oh, it's so sweet that I'm almost getting diabetes. Dark plum sauce? Yes. Yes. That's the sauce. Do you think it's okay if I sing this? The principal slapped his thigh and smiled so hard that his teeth were invisible. I imagined that shocking scene a little and then nodded heavily. Okay. Definitely okay. Support the aspiring old youth to pursue their dreams again. 20 to the music festival is scheduled half a month later. The competition among various departments is fierce. The band only has one song quota. But it still makes me very satisfied. This is the first performance of Cold Rabbit. Everyone attaches great importance to it. We selected the song to cover and made a remix to make the atmosphere more exciting. Then we started to rehearse intensively and squeeze time. Lawrence didn't know what was wrong with him again. As soon as class was over, he came to the classroom to block me and ask for a reunion. I greeted him twice with sweet words. He didn't dare to come anymore. He started to send me text messages with different numbers, saying that he knew he was wrong and had drawn a clear line with Sherry, asking me to give him another chance. I don't take back garbage. I block one as soon as he sends one. My daily chats with Jason also became more frequent. Most of the time, he was more active. The big orange cat in the school ate 1.5 cans at one go. The succulent plant raised in the dormitory bloomed. A butterfly ended on his shoulder. He would share such interesting little things with me. I had nothing to share with him, except 400s of greasy emoji, is of domineering presidents saved in my phone. Sin. 23 half a month later, John University's music festival began. As night fell, the stage had been set up. Many people were continuously pouring into the playground. I was humming a song and waiting for Jason at the entrance of the playground. He said he wanted to show me something. Before I waited for him, I waited for Lawrence. That played God first. Don't be embarrassed if you sing badly later. His tone was harsh. A dog can't spit out ivory. If I sing badly, it's saving you. I snorted. Quinn, can you stop scolding me? Oh, I will despise you forever. Lawrence didn't say anything in a muffled voice. After a few seconds, his voice tightened. Quinn, let's make up. I know I was wrong. I shouldn't have been ambiguous with Sherry under the guise of being friends. I will change. Give me another chance. I was just so jealous that I was dizzy. That day I was so against you. How could I let others hit you? We had such a good relationship before. We went to the zoo and amusement park together. We said we would eat hot pot and go skiing together this winter. Do you have time this weekend? Can I take you to the forest park to see fireflies again? His eyes were shining with hope. No, because I will go with her. Jason, who was late, answered for me first. 24. We walked straight into the playground. Lawrence was unwilling. He followed me and kept nagging that he was wrong. Like a fly buzzing. It made my head hurt. Because Jason was here. I had to be more reserved and civilized. I had a bunch of sweet words and tried to ignore him. Jason suddenly stopped. Lawrence. Which continent is your shoe? The continent of Oasis. What's wrong? Lawrence lifted his chin with an unhappy expression. No wonder. There are so many strokes. Advanced insults often kill people without blood. And it will trigger the freezing skill. When Lawrence was stunned and repeatedly pondering over this sentence, Jason held my wrist in reverse and took me away. I was laughing wildly all the way. I didn't expect that as soon as Jason made a move. It was such a high-end sarcasm. You are very beautiful today. Jason's face was a little embarrassed. He unnaturally changed the topic. Yes. I think so too. I looked down at myself and accepted his compliment generously. I painted gray-pink dried rose eye makeup. My long wavy hair was dyed with a few strands of silver and draped behind me. The small camisole, short skirt, and long boots. Sweet and spicy. How could it not be beautiful? By the way, what did you want to show me? I suddenly remembered. Jason motioned for me to look at his clothes. Only then did I notice that on his clean and simple white t-shirt, there was a cool and rebellious graffiti low-paired rabbit. He was cheering for me. I am the #1 fan of Cold Rabbit. Quinn. Come on. Jason curved his lips. Under the starry night sky, his beautiful eyes seemed to have starlight flowing. 25. The principal opened the show. A shocking little love song instantly pushed the atmosphere to a climax. As one song after another was performed, the people under the stage were all extremely excited. But I became more and more nervous. When it was our band's turn to perform, the suspended large screen showed the logo of Cold Rabbit. I held the microphone and stood on the high steel platform. With sweaty palms. On the green football field. There were a sea of people. But in the short gap of just a dozen seconds of prelude, I caught sight of Jason in the front row of the crowd at a glance. He had a smile in his eyes and looked up at me. At the moment our eyes met, Jason pointed to the low-paired rabbit on his t-shirt. The agitated mood strangely calmed down. I faced the evening breeze. Closed my eyes. When I opened them again, I firmly sang the first line. It doesn't hurt me. You want to feel how it feels? Jay. And if I only could make a deal with God and get him to swap our places, be running up that road, be running up that hill, be running up that building. Jay. The strong beams of light shined back and forth. The sound waves rolled up. The heartbeat coincided with the drum beat. Those hesitations and uneasiness were all washed away. The young and vivid souls were restless and burning. They waved flags, indulged in wild celebrations, and screamed and sang in chorus until their throats were hoarse. Under the spotlight, the souls were trembling. I be running up that hill. Jai, the last note gently fell. I was completely satisfied. Amidst thunderous applause and cheers, I took a deep breath and bowed deeply to curtain call. 26. After the music festival ended, Jason and I sat by the side of the high steel platform and looked up at the night sky. The moon was very big and bright, surrounded by tiny stars. After looking at it for a while, I said foolishly, "It feels like it's going to fall and hit me." Jason chuckled. "It won't. If it falls, I will stand in front of you." Some classmates who hadn't left yet exclaimed from afar, "Look! It's John God and his girlfriend. His girlfriend is actually the lead singer of that Cold Rabbit band." I swung my legs and joked half seriously, "If you don't clarify our relationship soon, then I will spread rumors everywhere." Jason, "Spread them. I will find more people to spread the rumors." After a pause, he lowered his eyes and trembled his eyelashes as he confessed, "Quinn, I like you. I've known it for a long time." He is really straightforward. My heart was throbbing violently. I shyly said in a low voice, "Me too." Jason curved his lips and smiled. After sitting for a while longer, I turned my face and stared at his beautiful thin lips. Suddenly, for some reason, I blurted out, "Jason, let's kiss." As soon as I said it, I wanted to hit myself with a hammer. Help! We've only been together for less than 5 minutes. What am I saying? Will Jason be scared away by me? Oh, I was just talking nonsense. You know how I talk. I laughed awkwardly twice, crying inside. Okay. Jason coughed and his earlobes turned red. Before I could react, he leaned closer and gently kissed me. That cold and sweet fragrance intertwined with the breath between our lips, gently wrapping me. The moon lost its weight. The evening breeze was scalding hot. My head was dizzy. Inappropriately, I thought of the words fragrant and soft. Jason was really fragrant and soft. The fragrance is from the person. The softness is from the lips. I want to kiss him to death. Jason's extra chapter. A long time ago, Jason saw Quinn at school. She was carrying a guitar. Her skin was very white. Her apricot eyes were big and bright. Wearing a short-sleeved t-shirt with letter prints and cargo skirts, she had an American retro look. Her high ponytail was tied up. Her long legs were smooth and straight. She hummed softly and wafted in the pink-orange sunset. Jason, who was in a hurry to go to a meeting, unconsciously slowed down and turned his face to glance several times. A thought popped into his head: this girl is so cool. The second time he saw Quinn was on the bus. He was going to the forest park to observe and record a very interesting freshwater herbaceous plant. The bus was driving smoothly on the asphalt road. The window was open. The stuffings in the carriage was blown clean by the cool evening breeze. Jason was a little sleepy, and was listening to music with his eyes closed. 2 minutes later, without even opening his eyes, he pressed the pause button on his earphones. Someone was arguing. The sound was so loud that it drowned out the sound waves in his earphones. Watching melons and having fun is human nature. Even Jason with a godlike image couldn't escape it. His sleepiness was gone. He listened attentively. The cause was that the boy was ambiguous with a heterosexual friend and was discovered by the girl. As a result, not only did he argue unreasonably and instead accuse the girl of overthinking, but he also wanted to use breaking up to make the other party compromise. Really shameless. Jason silently evaluated in his heart. It's hard to find a 3-legged toad, but 2-legged men are everywhere on the street. Fortunately, the girl didn't compromise and broke up neatly. As an onlooker, he just breathed a sigh of relief for the girl. But in the next moment, he ate melons and it was on himself. He became the unannounced official boyfriend. Jason. How come I don't know? But this is not important. What's important is that his height is 100 /14. Adhering to the principle of rigor and practicality, he couldn't help but speak up. Looking up, he found that these two people were very familiar. Lawrence was very high profile at school and wild. Jason knew him. The other one was the girl with the guitar. Her name is Quinn. Quinn was very afraid that Jason would expose her. She tightly clutched his coat. Her wrist was slender. The blood vessels and veins under the skin were faintly visible. Her big eyes were red and watery. She was pleading. Those bright apricot eyes that he saw at first had dimmed down, filled with exhaustion and panic. Her relationship with Lawrence had made her very embarrassed. Jason was silent for a few moments. In the end, he still cooperated with her. He didn't know what he was thinking. Maybe he just wanted to make Quinn happier. On the sidewalk, Quinn waved and said goodbye to him with a smile. He held the ice cream and watched the taxi leave. He sent Quinn a self-introduction message. "I am Jason from the law school." The opposite side quickly replied, "I am Quinn from the School of Information Engineering," with an overbearing hello emoji attached. He took a bite of the ice cream and seriously searched for emojis. After half an hour, he chose a cartoon dog that he thought was very cute, and sent it. Jason was a little nervous. He was waiting. And then he received Quinn's reply telling him not to send her some ugly and disgusting things anymore. Jason, in the deep night, he put away his phone. Standing by the roadside and looking at the passing traffic, a strange sense of regret suddenly welled up in his heart. Perhaps he should have added the contact information of that guitar girl on that day long ago. Instead of realizing it belatedly after such a long time, and suddenly feeling extremely regretful. And he also made the other party unhappy. On Monday afternoon, Jason and the logistics department were inspecting equipment on campus. Unexpectedly, they ran into Quinn and Lawrence. She talked nonstop and praised him. "What are you fragrant, soft, and sticking together." Although Jason knew that Quinn was talking nonsense, he still couldn't help blushing at his earlobes. He summoned up the courage to ask Quinn if the emoji was really ugly. The reply made him relieved. Fortunately, it was a misunderstanding. Quinn was very amazing. She formed a band by herself called Cold Rabbit. Cool and cute. Applications for using idle buildings would be reported to the university. Jason knew that Quinn was rehearsing in the old building. When he inspected that the surveillance cameras in the classrooms on that floor were all broken, he quickly contacted the technicians to repair them. They often rehearsed until very late. There was a section of path outside the building that was very dark. The street lights were also broken one after another and couldn't be repaired for the time being. Jason waited on the first floor at night until they finished. When he saw Quinn walking to the main road on campus, he was relieved. Unexpectedly, that day he accidentally bumped into Lawrence bullying her. Fortunately, he was there. Quinn seemed to be an optimist and had strong combat effectiveness. In fact, she was very soft inside and so delicate that she could be called sensitive. She intermittently confided in him and cried. Jason seriously comforted her. She should do what she wants to do, freely and without restraint. After venting, Quinn quickly became happy again. She also asked him why he was in the old building. Jason said it was just passing by. Well, everything was a coincidence. Just before he finished speaking, Quinn ran away. Jason sent a message telling her that he had proposed the music festival to the principal. The principal readily agreed. He was embarrassed to say that the principal also teased him if he liked Quinn. 2 out of 3 sentences were praising her. "Principal, you guessed so accurately." On the night when the music festival ended, Jason and Quinn fell in love. They had a very good relationship. Sweet and sticky. After graduating, Jason went to work at a law firm. Quinn gave up the opportunity to work as a programmer in a big company. She wrote and released songs and spent all day in the recording studio. At the beginning, it was very hard. Cold Rabbit was not very famous and couldn't make money. Several members couldn't hold on and had the idea of leaving. Quinn was very depressed. On the one hand, she felt sorry for the members. On the other hand, she felt that she was a failure and too idealistic. She began to doubt whether she, who was self-taught and only had a passion for music, was suitable for taking the path of a musician. Jason was an excellent partner with stable emotions. He could always detect Quinn's low mood at the first time, and then patiently comfort and encourage her. He also transferred a sum of money to all the members without telling her, and asked everyone to hold on a little longer. He hoped that Quinn could happily do what she liked and not give up. Leave the rest to him. Quinn's efforts were worth it. She was a musical genius. Her song style was distinct and unique. In less than 2 years, a song became popular. Cold Rabbit Band accumulated a large number of diehard fans and officially entered the public eye. At that time, Jason had settled several thorny lawsuits and had already become a famous gold medal lawyer in the industry. They got engaged and lived together. Quinn didn't like to take on performances frequently. She spent most of her time staying at home, playing with cats and writing songs. There was a calico kit at home that Jason picked up by the roadside. At first, it was thin and weak and covered with injuries. After raising it for 2 months, it became beautiful and sleek, shiny and smooth. It would always rub against Quinn and act coquettously. Quinn also liked to act coquettously to Jason. Baby fragrant and soft you baby, how are you so good? Mua Jason couldn't resist every time. He knew all of Quinn's habits. She liked to open the window on rainy nights to breathe in the freshwater vapor. Listen to music. Watch movies. She liked to read the messages from fans under her account one by one carefully before going to bed. When she got inspiration, she would get up in the middle of the night and run to the recording studio at home to write songs and arrange music. Jason was sometimes very busy. This day, he didn't get home until nearly 11 o'clock. The cat in the living room was still awake, squatting in its nest and purring with its eyes half closed, needing milk. Jason entered the bedroom. The desk lamp was on. Quinn was already asleep. On the gray marble floor under the bed were a pair of fluffy puppy slippers. She didn't sleep well and only covered half of her body with the quilt. Wearing a pearl-colored silk nightgown, she had a beautiful curve. There was also a notebook she used specifically for writing lyrics by her pillow. Jason quietly tittied up the notebook and placed it on the bedside table. He sat by the bed and looked at Quinn for a long time. Her fair skin, pink lips, and jet black hair. She was as beautiful as a painting. Jason lovingly kissed her cheek and got up to take a bath in the bathroom. After more than half an hour, he got into bed fresh and clean. Quinn vaguely felt it. Without even opening her eyes, she rolled over and snuggled into his arms and quickly fell asleep again. Jason stroked her long hair. He didn't rush to sleep. At 12 midnight, Cold Rabbit's new song was released on time. Jason put on his earphones and listened to it many times in a loop with countless fans. Many fans left messages in the comments section. This world cannot be without Cold Rabbit. Jason thought for a while and typed a different comment. This world cannot be without Quinn. Jason is the #1 fan of Cold Rabbit Band. And even more so, the #1 fan of Quinn. He accompanies her as she moves forward. Behind them, the moon never falls.